Hello friends, my name is Erin and welcome back to another video. It is time once again to do a wrap up. January is over. I'm going to be talking about the 25 books I read in January. This year I'm going to do a little bit different kind of wrap ups. I feel like my wrap ups are very long, very wordy. I take a really long time to summarize things. So for books that I've read in videos during the month, I am going to basically barely talk about them. If you need to be reminded what my rating was, whatever, but I'm not going to spend a lot of time on those. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on manga or graphic novels. And then for books, I'm pretty much just going to summarize the book with like tropes and, you know, important things that I think you need to know what the book's about, and then just kind of keep my wrap up to like a minute or two per book because we know I can ramble and these videos can get very long and tedious to edit, so I'm trying to save myself the headache, and I'm sure you all get tired of me talking for 45 minutes. We're going to talk about the books that I read in my January TBR slasher, so if you want to hear my more full in-depth reviews on these books, I will link it down below. Definitely go check that out because I talk about these books way more. First up is The Thursday Murder Club. I absolutely loved this. I gave it 5 stars. I will be continuing the series, but this is a very fun murder mystery about a group of elderly people that live in a retirement village, and they have a little true crime murder club that they do every week, and when a real murder occurs, they decide to investigate. It's very cute. There's so much more depth to this book. It's not just like a silly little murder mystery. It's about aging, it's about enjoying life, it's a little bit sad, it's a little bit funny. It just has a lot going for it, and I thoroughly enjoyed my time with this one, and I had to give it 5 stars. Private Rights by Julia Armfield. This is a retelling of King Lear. It also has an end of the world dystopian vibe going on, and it's very literary. It's following 3 sisters. It's queer, and I just feel like it was very complex. I'm sure a lot of it went over my head, but for the vibes alone, I really adored this book. I liked the writing a lot more than Our Wives Under the Sea, which I previously read from this author. I didn't enjoy that one as much, but for whatever reason, this was a lot of fun for me, and I overall enjoyed my time with it, so I'm giving it 4 stars. We Came to Welcome You by Vincent Torrado. I didn't have as good of a time with this one. I had some like nitpicky personal things that I didn't really love. It also went in a direction that I wasn't totally in love with as like a horror book. The social commentary was really good though. This is a queer horror supernatural story with an HOA involved. This couple moves into a new house and the HOA is really overbearing, and the neighbors are they're a little intense, and there's obviously some other things going on. But I would definitely read from this author again and give them another try because, you know, this one just wasn't really for me, but I am giving it 3 stars. Then we have The Blue Hour by Paula Hawkins. This is a mystery. It deals with a very famous artist whose husband went missing a really long time ago, and in the present day, something's been discovered while her art has been in the public eye, like it's been in a museum, and they discovered something. So long buried secrets kind of get resurfaced. I did enjoy this for the most part. It was very slow. It talks a lot about art, so I didn't really understand a lot of it. I feel like a lot of the technical stuff went over my head, and I was just kind of like, yeah, sure, I know what you're talking about. It was interesting. I feel like it could have been more fleshed out in terms of characters, but I did really like the ending to this one, so I gave it 3.5 stars. Then I finally read Heartstopper Volume 1. I have been dying to read this. It is a very cute graphic novel about 2 boys who go to school together and they become friends and they start to fall in love, and it was so adorable. I know why everyone rants and raves and absolutely talks about this in such a high regard. It was so cute. I will 100% be continuing the series because I need more, and I have to see where the series goes. I can't. I can't. It's just too cute. I gave this 5 stars. My last and third 5-star book of the month, which was actually my first read of 2025, which I'm so excited about, was Fear the Flames by Olivia Rose Darling. This is a fantasy. I want everyone to know that I gave a fantasy 5 stars. I can't believe it either. This was sold to me because the author wrote this as Anakin and Padme from Star Wars getting their happy ending, and I love Anakin and Padme from Star Wars, so I had to read it. There's dragons in here, there's found family, reluctant allies to lovers, they have to team up, and you know, they're not so sure, but then, you know, and he's very much the touch her and die trope, so if you like that, I feel like you would enjoy this as well. I loved this. I couldn't believe that I enjoyed a fantasy as much as I enjoyed this one. Look, especially with dragons, I was like, Erin, you're getting yourself into dragons? That's crazy. If you have any recommendations, like Fear the Flames for me, because this is a 5-star. And probably my favorite fantasy book now, which is crazy to say. I decided to give Kate Alice Marshall another chance with Killing Cold. This is a wintry, isolated thriller. Our main character, Theo, is in a relationship and he's charming. He's also very wealthy and they've been dating for 6 months. They're now engaged and he's taking her to meet his family. When she gets to the family's estate, she finds a picture of her child self in the home. It's a very interesting thriller. I didn't think I was going to like this, but it was pretty twisty and I feel like it was a little bit harder to guess than this author's previous thrillers for me. I really enjoyed where the story went in the end and how everything turned out, and I liked the ending, and I'm glad that it didn't turn into something that I didn't enjoy. But I don't know if everyone will like this. I think it's just kind of one of those thrillers, but I did give this 4 stars. Another thriller that I actually really enjoyed was Cross My Heart by Megan Collins. This was sent to me from the publisher Atria. Thank you so much. I have read multiple Megan Collins books in the past and I have not enjoyed them, so I wasn't super excited for this one, but the premise is that the main character had a heart transplant and she meets the donor's family through this like donor online thing, and she starts communicating with the husband of the woman that she received the heart from, and they start up this kind of relationship and she kind of becomes enamored with him. And this was really surprising. This was pretty freaking twisty. I did guess one twist, but this thing had me super invested. I was glued to it. I was turning those pages so quickly. It was a lot of fun. I can definitely see why some people would absolutely hate this, but if you're in for a good time entertaining thriller, I think this is definitely for you. If you want more of a thriller that challenges your thinking and is more like literary and intellectual, maybe not. But if you want a good time, I really liked this. I liked where it went. The ending was really funny and I am giving this 4.5 stars. I read a workplace manga and a workplace manhwa, which is the Korean version of a manga. So I read An Incurable Case of Love Volume 3 and A Business Proposal Volumes 1 and 2. This deals with a nurse and a doctor working together, and she's basically a golden retriever and he's like very black cat. Honestly, not even black cat, very Doberman energy. He's kind of brooding and moody and he has a attitude and he's kind of mean, and she's a hard worker and she wants to do good, and they you know, start up a relationship. It's very cute. I've been enjoying this a lot. I'll probably give the whole series a 4-star. This is very similar. She agrees to go on a blind date in place of her friend because her friend doesn't want to go, and she meets the new CEO of her company. She did not know he was going to be the CEO, but she goes on this blind date with him, and he made a promise to himself that the woman he meets that night at that blind date he's going to marry. So she gets into a whole situation, and it was very, very funny, and I am definitely continuing this one. It's probably going to be a 4-star as well, but I need to finish them to see how I feel. I read the next Shady Hollow mystery book, which was Mirror Lake by Juno Black. This is a very cute, I love this series. I'm enjoying the little animals and their town and their jobs. Like, I love it. I did feel like the mystery in this one was a lot like the second book. It was very predictable, which is kind of unfortunate, but I'm not super mad at it. Again, I'm gonna finish the series. I really like them. They're really cozy and cute, and I enjoy my time with them, so I'm not that mad. I will probably give this 4 stars as well. I also read the new Adrienne Young, which is A Sea of Unspoken Things. This is about a sister who is investigating the death of her twin because she feels like something went down. It wasn't just a cut and dry accidental death, that there was some foul play involved. So she goes back to her hometown to start investigating, and it dredges up a lot of her past and some things that she was running from in the first place. Adrienne Young has such a beautiful writing style. It is so immersive, it is so detailed, it is so pretty. I feel like I can see everything that she's writing. It's not hard for me to see it play in my mind when I'm reading it, and it's just so beautiful. Like, I love the writing style that she has. I will say that this was very slow at first. I didn't think I was going to like it because I was like, where is this going? Why is it taking so long? But it did turn around, and I actually loved where this went in the end. I loved it. I thought it was really pretty. I think Adrienne Young has such a beautiful writing style, and I will probably just read her books to read her style of writing because I just enjoy it so much, but I will give this 4 stars as well. I read the next High Republic Star Wars book in phase 1 that I'm currently reading, and that was The Rising Storm by Cavan Scott. I don't know if that's how you pronounce this author's name. Again, I'm not going to talk too much about this because it's a series, but I really enjoyed this. There was a lot of stuff happening. It was kind of more action-packed than I had anticipated, but it was very enjoyable. It ended in a very disappointing way for me. I was very upset, but I am looking forward to continuing the series, and I will probably give this 4 stars as well. This next manga is called Confession. I believe this just recently came out. Justin found it for me, and it deals with 2 friends who are on a mountain, and it is really storming and snowy, and they're lost, and the one friend is injured, and he's pretty sure he's gonna die, so he makes a deathbed confession to the other friend. But after he's made this confession, they find shelter, and it becomes this very paranoid situation for both of them. And things become more intense once they reach the cabin, and it does have a little bit of a twist. I thought the twist was kind of predictable, but I really enjoyed the story. I thought it was a lot of fun. It starts off very, very like fast-paced. It throws you into it. The manga style is a little bit more old-fashioned in my opinion. It looks like some of the older anime and manga that I've seen, but I did really like it, and I will probably give this 4 stars. I read the sequel to Moon of the Crusted Snow, which is Moon of the Turning Leaves by Wabgi Shig Rice. It takes place 12 years after Moon of the Crusted Snow, and it definitely leans more into the survival aspect because they are looking for a new place to set up their community because they just need to move on from the land. And it was a lot of like traveling, that kind of like journey part of survival that I wasn't that invested, honestly. I wasn't that excited. The second half definitely went in a different direction than I expected, and it got more intense and more things happened, and it kind of took a turn that I was pleased about and that I think needed to have happened because I wasn't loving where it was going. The ending made me so upset. I loved it, but I was so upset. It was so sad. But I did overall really like this. I think it's a good sequel. I still love Moon of the Crusted Snow more. I like how that one took on the apocalypse a little bit more than this one. But that's just a personal preference, but I am still going to give this 4 stars. Then I read Goodbye Eri, I think is how you say this. But this is from the creator of Chainsaw Man, so if you've read that, this is the same mangaka. This is a one-shot, so it's just this one volume. It doesn't have any more. This one's very bizarre. It's about this guy who makes a film and it doesn't go over very well at his school, and he meets this girl and she kind of hypes him up and helps him make a new film. And it's very weird. It's kind of like a story within a story within a story. It's very like meta in that way. It was okay. I would give it like 3.5. It was interesting. I read What Mother Won't Tell Me by Ivar Leon Menger. This is from Poison Pen Press. I received this last year, I believe. This is translated. The author is German. It's about this brother and sister who live in a cabin deep, deep in the woods with their mother and father. They have a bunch of rules, like don't be seen by strangers, don't talk to strangers. They're not allowed to like go to school. It's a plot and a story that I've seen a lot, and for me, I don't think it really added anything different than those books have done in the past. It was pretty predictable. I kind of guessed what type of story this was and where it was going really early on. But again, that could be because I've read many books that feel like this. So I am probably going to give this 3 stars. I read Blood on the Tracks by Shuzo Oshimi, volume 17. This is the final volume in the series. I did not know that when I read it. I really enjoyed this ending though, I will say. It took me a minute to absorb it because I was very shocked that it was the end. But for me and this story, I didn't really see it ending any other way. It just felt like there were only so many directions this story could go. But for me, it was very satisfying. I think it ended the best way it could, which is all I really wanted. And I love this whole series. I've given every volume a 5-star because I think the series as a whole is a 5-star. And it's probably one of my favorite manga series ever because I love it so much. Then I read The Memory Police by Yoko Ogawa. This is like a dystopian story about things that disappear in this community. Once they disappear, they're just wiped from existence, and the memory police make sure that you don't remember them and they keep you in check and in line. Our main character is a writer and she learns that her editor is in danger, so she finds a way to hide him in her house and tries to keep him safe. It was very bizarre but very interesting. It's very slow. I feel like it's not very action heavy. It's more about like the writing and just the acts of the things disappearing and what the people are going through day to day and how they feel and how they cope with these things missing. It was very, very interesting. I didn't love the ending. I'm gonna be honest. I wasn't a big fan of it, but I loved the rest of the book so much and it was really beautifully done that I'm giving it 4.5 stars. I read another office romance manga, and that is All You Want, Whenever You Want. It's very, very smutty, as you can tell by the cover. I would say that there's pretty much no plot. It's all just smut. So if that's not your thing, definitely don't read it. It's about 2 people that work together. They're very different. One is a workaholic, and the new guy, he's very concerned with how these mean bosses are treating the workers, and he wants to help the workaholic not be a workaholic anymore and like stand up for himself. But it's also just very, very smutty, like basically only smut. So I would still give it 4 stars though. It was very fun. Speaking of smut, I read The Yakuza and His Omega, which Justin got me, but he actually didn't know what this was about. He just picked it up because he thought I might like it. It's a very bizarre idea. This is volume 1. It deals with alphas and omegas and betas, and omegas are super, super rare, and they release these pheromones that make people crazy with lust, I guess. And she encounters this, she's an omega, and she encounters this second in command for the Yakuza, and they have this like connection, and yeah, it was so silly, so dumb, so cringy, but I read it. Very, very smutty, very smutty. I would probably still continue with it, honestly. It was a good time. But it was just kind of stupid. I think I gave it 3 stars. Next up, I read Welcome to the Hunam Dong Bookshop, and this was such a beautiful book. It's about the main character who left her high-stress job and that like high-stress workaholic lifestyle to open up a bookshop. And this book is very slice of life. If you like slice of life manga or anime, you like want to see day-to-day life, the owning of a bookshop, the work she puts into it, hiring new people to help with her, making new family, new friends, new relationships through the bookstore. It's very, very sweet. I like the topics that it deals with in terms of like working, and I feel like society is so focused on work and what your job is and why working is so important, and people make work their whole life, and this book really provides a different kind of perspective, and it's very sweet, it's very beautiful, it's so lovely. It made me cry. I just had like the best time with it. I think I'm also giving this 4.5 stars, but honestly, I could give this 5 stars because it made me tear up so many times. It hit me in the heart a lot because I feel like it targeted a lot of things that I deal with, and stress and my worth in life. It was just a lot. It was beautiful. I really liked this. This is a graphic novel. This is called Final Cut by Charles Burns. This was sent to me by Pantheon. It's huge. It's absolutely gigantic. The art is very, very cool. It's very comic book style. I liked that a lot. The story I did not enjoy. It was very much a 2-star read for me. This is about the main character who is making a movie with his friends, and he's a weird guy, and he's kind of obsessed with this girl who is his friend, but she's also like helping out with the movie. I didn't really enjoy this, honestly. The plot was just, it very much felt like a story about a guy who is creepy and sexualizing this woman, and he's just like kind of misunderstood, and he's actually a good guy deep down, and he doesn't have any ill intent, but he's also really creepy and really weird, and it gives me the ick. It wasn't doing anything interesting. It was just not for me. So I did give this 2 stars. The last book that I have to talk about is Liar, Dreamer, Thief by Maria Dong. I have very mixed opinions on this book. It's a thriller mystery of sorts, but there's also a lot of other components to it. Our main character, Katrina, is kind of obsessed with her coworker. She stalks him. She's just obsessed with him, and while she's like snooping through his stuff one day, she finds this note that kind of hints that he knows that she's looking at him and watching him and stalking him, and she starts panicking. She definitely has these rituals and obsessions and compulsions that she deals with throughout the book, and it's a major component of the story. And while she's going through one of these rituals, she sees her coworker jump off a bridge and commit suicide. So she ends up looking into this because she's just so confused and unsettled and thrown off. So she starts looking into what happened, and it becomes a whole mess. I did really like the second half. I actually thought that this book was really sad, but I liked how it ended. I just couldn't deal with some of the things in the beginning. Like, a lot of it had to do with her compulsions and obsessions, but it was just hard to read for me. It was just a very interesting and weird kind of book, but I did really like the second half. So I'm stuck between a 3 and a 3.5. I didn't love it, but I did really enjoy the second half of it, honestly. All right, that is it for my January wrap up. Those are the 25 books that I actually did read. Hopefully this wasn't too long, too drawn out, too much. Hopefully this was more concise than usual. I'm going to try to implement that a little bit more into my wrap-ups. Yeah, hopefully you enjoyed. If you've read any of these books, let me know what you thought of them down below. If we agree, disagree, if any of them are on your TBR, I would love to know as well. And with that being said, if you enjoyed my wrap-up, give me a thumbs up if you want to continue seeing wrap-ups from me in the future. If you haven't already, feel free to subscribe to my channel. We can become friends, talk about books, horrifying books, thrilling books, romance books, manga, all that good fun stuff. And with that being said, I hope you are having a great day, night, morning, afternoon, wherever you are, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!